Look at this nice dog here today at the petition, and your group is called 350, and it's mostly related to climate emergency related to carbon emissions, right?
Yes.
Okay, now when I was asking 3 people before, when they were starting to show up, about what is likely the biggest cause of environmental stresses on our planet, they would all in some way say it's our species. You know, it begins there. Everything is there at the root.
That's why it's a code red.
So
the IPCC is now saying this is a code red. If you want to see the other side of the sign.
And my own belief is we have passed these ecological and social tipping points, but a lot of people might not be there yet, and they still do this, which is very much required as well. We need to reach people at every level that are ready for different levels of reality, let's say, based on what they can handle, right? Based on what...
Yes, and what they're capable of.
So, what I focused on when I developed a theory that explains a lot of things is I wanted to go at the root of how we think, you know, like our worldviews. So for me, I became the ecocentric humanist. So this will probably go on that vlog where, you know, I can't not only do something that is ego-related to me, but even anthropocentric related to my species. I can't even do that. I have to put the biosphere first. So remind me of your name, please.
It's Lorraine.
Lorraine. We don't need your last name, but I kind of heard it. And the person that organized this wasn't here today, was sick, and you're kind of in charge now. So, for you, what do you think, knowing that it's our species, would be an efficient way to kind of reverse what we've been doing? Like, in what way could we succeed at this?
Well, you know, I hate to say it, but as they say, the root of all evil is money and greed. and I'm not suggesting this is, well, maybe it is evil, but it doesn't matter, because we're where we're at now because of our actions and our inactions. So we have to really grip reality, see the changes in the earth, see that this is because of us, and reverse it. Now, reversing is not going to hurt, but it has to be done.
It is going to hurt, but the alternative...
It's going to hurt more.
Well,
it's going to hurt way more.
I'm just going to make sure it's still recording. Yes, it is. So you said a few things, like, for example, greed and money, and you also said we have to kind of learn these things and know that we have an impact. So
yes.
How would you recommend to be successful in this way, like to disconnect people from greed, or have them learn things that aren't easy to learn?
Well, you see, unfortunately, or fortunately, one of the ways is going to be through incentives, positive reinforcement. And that's, you know, maybe making the negative stuff too, right?
Well, that's the basic of cybernetics, is there'll be a response that'll either accelerate or decelerate what you're trying to change.
Yes. Well, I think there's already market forces in play that are making it happen, like the electric vehicle. We're getting, there's actually an excellent YouTube, and it's Just Have a Think.
Have a think.
Just have a think.
Okay, now, what I've heard so far, and I did research over the years, but it's still that the impact of creating them, and maybe even the lack of effort to recycle, let's say, the batteries, and also who is investing in them, being the bad guys from before, now profiting in a different way. You know, there's a lot of ethical issues involved with even that one thing, because, for example, there's some countries that have better public transit, trains and buses, than we do. So people might think I'm losing my freedom to not have my own vehicle, even though they drive it poorly and put others at risk. So for me, there's a lot of contradictions.
Well, there is a revolution coming as far as self-driving automobiles. This is going to be one of those disruptive technologies that changes the way we do things. You'll have an app and you'll call a car and it'll take you where you want to go.
So do you believe this is a good thing? Because for me, what I'm scared about is these apps and these cars would be programmed by people.
Oh, there's always room for that.
Well, for me, I'd rather drive my own car, but I also notice that the things we do now program people are failing more and more. Their politicians, for example, are choosing the lowest bidder for things, and when even their own staff that want to go on strike because their workload is harder with the new software, they don't seem to change, and we're going back to greed maybe, right? The bottom line.
So unfortunately, there's a lot of very wealthy people at the top that are putting the information out. Well, they call it greenwashing. Right? So we don't really know what's happening. It's the same thing they did with the tobacco industry.
Yeah,
and it's just to keep the profits rolling at the expense of our planet, our entire planet. I mean, how could anyone do that? But anyway, they did.
So in a way, what they're doing is against either they believe in their God, what the God probably intended, or against evolution if they believe in evolution, because they're going in opposite of that at an accelerated rate, right? To make hell of what was a paradise, because if we evolved here, conditions were pretty darn good for us to live
They
here.
were really good.
Yeah.
The reason why it's 350.org is because 350 parts per million of carbon in the atmosphere. Now in Hawaii, they measured it at 416. So that's why we're changing. That's why there's all these.
And on your website, there's probably more information about other cycles that fit in, like methane and the albedo effect and things like that.
Methane is a big one. The thing about methane is that it packs a real punch. It's way stronger than general carbon dioxide as far as the effects on the greenhouse.
And deforestation.
I mean, it's just ridiculous that we're taking away the checks and balances that the Earth has evolved to have to keep it at 350.
Yeah, to actually go more into mining to create carbon capture technology is definitely a form of anthropocentric mental illness, as we cut what is more efficient than whatever technology that we'd be creating, let's say by cutting trees.
But you see, when we go to food production, like fake meat in a way, and I don't know if you've ever had that Beyond Meat. It's Beyond Meat.
I actually had the meatballs from Subway that were veggies, and I found them as delicious, and
there you go.
And they discontinued from what I hear.
Oh, really? Well, not Beyond Meat. They're doing quite well, and this is going to expand, so they're not going to need the pastures for the cows and the beef cattle.
Yeah, but we do need to grow something, right?
Yes, exactly. So what they're going to have to reforest those areas,
Okay.
and that's going to be a huge part.
Now, coming back though to finish up.
The oxygen.
Thank you.
Bringing it out of the air.
Sorry, I'm not even sure how much the wind is affecting the sound, and I want to finish up with you and ask another person. Last question is, if we admitted that our species is, has become an invasive species on the planet, really, what would be the solution most pressing to work on if it is in fact our species the cause? And I'm not saying voluntarily eliminate numbers of people.
Good, because unfortunately some of that's going to happen.
Yes, so why are we not doing more family planning, contraception?
Oh, I don't know about that. I just mean like with climate change, like in India, there's going to be less water coming down.
Yeah, but the more people there are to feed,
I know.
And the more we want to fake our empathy towards others.
I know.
Yeah.
I know.
All right. So for me, that's kind of the main thing we still are ignoring to discuss. I'm gonna move to a different lady to interview. Thank you for your time.
Good luck.
Watch the vehicles, please. It is still recording, so I'm Martin here. We are a little bit in danger with vehicles, but the signs are colorful. Your name is?
Hi, I'm Lorna. Hello, Renee.
Lorna, hi.
Hi.
Well, start wherever you want. If you, otherwise, I could ask a question. What do you want to share with the world? What brought you here today?
I am here with my mom. We're literally burning up, so I thought I'd try to do something about it.
I like that you put it like that, because it really is on fire, and we are kind of not training enough firefighters either. So your mother is?
My mom's name is Nancy.
She's down there. Okay, and without, let's say, you having had that mom compared to another mom, do do you believe you would have maybe developed these types of values anyways?
I hope so.
But
I hope I would have been taught those values. Your values do depend a lot on what you're taught. I'm hoping I would have picked up a newspaper and figured it out, but I can't be 100% sure.
But still, the role modeling of the mother and maybe other people in your life might have made a difference.
Talks about global warming in high school. I was never told global warming doesn't exist.
When was this, and what kind of course was it where you learned some of this?
Just high school science back in California from the States.
Oh, okay. What grade?
Just middle school, high school.
Okay, kind of mid-range?
Yeah.
Okay, and they just briefly covered it? Did they explain a little bit about Earth systems?
A little bit. I don't know the exact.
And part of it is, there are times when we don't know enough to actually be able to give good explanations. I like that you brought up the fact that the role modeling we get from parents, teachers, even politicians. I heard that the lady today in Gord's office did show up here. I'm very proud of her. I'll go tell her before I leave. She didn't tell me anything about that when I was in there, but she had her own sign made up, and Gord is supposedly somewhere else promoting this. Now, of course, I'd have to interview him to see what his true intentions are and his true understanding of the issues are, but it's still nice to see this. Any final thoughts about how you wish there was more people doing stuff like this to role model to the younger people? Because really, that's not a lot of people here today to save our planet. So tell me more about, the luck of having the mom you had and what made it special to learn from her this important stuff.
Put much store by denying science and pretending that just because you didn't like reality, that meant reality doesn't exist. It's very... I was fortunate in that way, and I believe all schools in the public education system should be teaching about global warming as part of your basic science course, because it is basic science. It's what's happening to the Earth.
Thank you. At the beginning, in case it wasn't loud enough, she was saying, Lorna, that her mother promoted the thoughts to not disconnect from reality, and science was very important. And I often mention this, is we jump into denial and a disconnection so quickly, and we lose our humanity, and we no longer act based on the right definitions of sapience and sentience, which is what our brains and species and nervous system was capable of. I also noticed growing up and firing my own university faculty that was teaching fake sustainability that we are actually